Biden defending his veto of that deal to send Polish fighter jets to Ukraine. He says it would only provoke Vladimir Putin into, quote, World War III. Joining me now, Texas Republican Congressman Pat Fallon, member of the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, welcome.
Mike, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Is President Biden being too cautious about sending those jets to Ukraine?
Yes, absolutely. What president? I mean, the president of the United States, Mike, is allowing Vladimir Putin to deter him. He's not deterring Putin. Transferring 28 MiGs from Poland to the Ukraine, we're not going to fly them from Poland to Germany, and then they're going to go on hot missions into the Ukraine. We're going to transfer them to the Ukraine, and then the Ukrainians can arm and man them. So it was just more of additional proxy fight. We're sending them asymmetrical war materials now, and I don't see this as any different. I think it's a great idea, and I wish the president had done it.
Let's show our audience the MiG-29. They started production back in 1982, a response to American F-15 and F-16 fighter jets. Wouldn't they have a significant impact in helping Ukrainian pilots who know how to fly them defend their country?
There's no doubt. We want if you want to have a no-fly zone, let the Ukrainians give them the tools to enforce it themselves, and I think they're fully capable. I'm not worried about escalating. We're not going to put American troops on the ground in Ukraine. They're not going to directly fight the Russians. It's Vladimir Putin who escalated it when he decided to invade a sovereign nation with 200,000 troops, and then additionally escalated when he was shelling civilians and targeting cities filled with non-combatants. And also, he deliberately targeted a maternity hospital. I mean, this guy's a war criminal, and we need to do everything we can to get the Ukrainians the material they need to win this fight.
Here's what White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said about arming the Ukrainians, quote, in protecting, defending, providing assistance to the Ukrainian people as they are fighting courageously and boldly. We are also trying to prevent ourselves from taking steps that would be further escalatory. The Russians have made it clear that any weapon shipments they think are fair game. Do you have concerns about the Russians taking shots at Americans transporting weapons into Ukraine?
No, because Vladimir Putin knows that would be something that may end his life very quickly. I don't think the Russian generals and the oligarchs that are complicit with this regime want to see any further escalation. And we're not doing that. We're simply providing an ally that was attacked illegally and criminally with the means to defend themselves. We need to send that, and quite frankly, Mike, as well, I signed on to a letter back in November urging the president to send asymmetrical war materials. Then he dragged his feet for weeks. I don't know why, but we need to be sending them sniper rifles and plastic explosives and anti-tank mines and harpoons that are anti-ship missiles, the javelins that take out the tanks, the stingers and other manpads that will take out helicopters and even some aircraft, and light machine guns in the American version of the RPG. That will put teeth behind the defense of the Ukraine.
Do you have a sense of how this ends? Does the United States, the international community, need to offer something to Vladimir Putin to basically for him to go home to his people and say, I got something, and then basically to pull out of Ukraine? Or how does this end?
Well, we'd love to see some kind of some symbolic gesture that allows him to save face and him leave. That would be the ideal situation scenario there. But we've seen reports of as many as 5,000 to 6,000 Russian soldiers killed in the first 2 weeks of this war. That is an astronomically high casualty rate, and if that continues, this war of attrition is one that Putin will lose.
On Capitol Hill, what further do you think will happen in terms of you and your colleagues as you look at the situation in Ukraine and try to provide support to the Ukrainian people defending their homeland?
Well, one thing I've seen, I've only been in Congress for 14 months, Mike, and this is the most bipartisan I've seen the chamber, and that is heartening. But, I'd also like to see us secure our southern border as well. We can do both, but Biden simply lacks the will to take care of things back here at home.
Congressman Pat Fallon of the great state of Texas, thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Mike. God bless.